That's how you know. And then I'll share my screen. Find the. I'm not going to share this yet till I find the right one. Okay, I think I'm ready to share my screen. All right. And as I introduced the teachers and school personnel that are here tonight, this is our leadership team for our accreditation. And so tonight we're planning to review our portions of our report, and we wanted to share domain 1 and domain 3, and we wanted to get some feedback from you, our constituents and our stakeholders. And we wanted to, before we progress any further in our report, we wanted to discuss this with you and see where we are in alignment. And this is the beginning of, or this is a step in completing our accreditation. Anne, do you want to pitch in?
Yeah, just a brief overview for parents who might not be familiar. Accreditation is the process that schools go through about every 6 years to make sure that their curriculum, instruction, and operations meet both state and Western Catholic Education Association requirements for educating students and issuing a curriculum and through instructors that are certified and meeting all of the instructional requirements, so that when we issue report cards and diplomas, it's recognized by all of the state agencies and schools, in that it validates that we are doing everything that meets safety and educational protocols for all students. So it's very important for our growth, and it's important to be accredited so that everything we do meets all of the requirements. And we take it very seriously, and that's why we want all voices of our community involved wherever possible. It helps us gather our data and evaluate our evidence to make sure that we are on the right track for all of our kids and all of our families.
Right. So the tools that accreditation requires that we use are focus on the national standards and benchmarks for effective Catholic elementary and secondary schools. It's a big term. We call it the NSBECs. And so I'm just going to give you the fastest overview of what the NSBECs are and what our goals are. So it's to develop a shared understanding of what we're looking for an excellent Catholic school. It is for Western Catholic Education Association. I'm sure I'm messing it up. For WCEA members of, and our diocese is one of the members of that accrediting organization. So we're going to start with prayer based on the NSBECs. Loving and gracious God, we pray in a special way for our Catholic schools. May the gospel message of love permeate throughout our schools so that each of us may foster a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Guide us to create a genuine community of faith that is built upon collaboration with parents, mutual trust, close cooperation, and continuous dialogue so that our work may contribute to the evangelizing mission of the church. Empower our administrators, teachers, and staff to serve as role models who give testimony through their lives of their commitment to the mission of Catholic education. Help them to foster an appreciation of the different gifts present to build up a learning and faith community and strengthen academic excellence. May our Catholic educators strive to nurture the whole child and support students in discovering their transcendent destiny. Lead our pastors of souls to make every effort to ensure that Catholic education is geographically, programmatically, physically, and financially accessible to all people who desire it for their children. Almost there. May the greatest lessons we teach through word and deed focus on our responsibility to transform and enrich the world with gospel values, and in this way, our Catholic schools may be characterized by excellence. We give thanks to you for the gift and blessing of Catholic education. Amen. Okay, so for this session, we're going to quickly, as I said, breeze by the NESBECs, and then we're going to talk about what we're doing. So this is going to help us to describe how we are the most mission-driven, program-effective, well-managed, and responsibly governed Catholic school. Those are the standards that we're looking for. As Mrs. Egan said, it is a national articulation. So it's defining how all Catholic schools that are accredited are assessed. So these are the four domains that are used to evaluate the school. Tonight, we'll look at mission and Catholic identity and academic excellence. So those defining characteristics is what we're looking at. Define the deep Catholic identity of Catholic schools and serve as the platform on which the standards and benchmarks rest. They authenticate the standards and benchmarks, justifying their existence and providing their meaning. All right, we're not going to do an activity. I know, it sounds like a lot of fun. Jacob just gave me a look like, what? I'm here for the fun. It seems like it would be fun another day. But, there was a reason I left these pieces in. Is these are common to all Catholic schools. And hopefully you've seen these faces and these activities in our school, because these are the visual component of excellent Catholic schools. That's a goal for us, Jacob. So at the heart of who we are, centered in the person of Jesus Christ, contributing to the evangelizing mission of the church, distinguished by excellence, committed to educate the whole child, steeped in a Catholic worldview, sustained by gospel witness, shaped by communion and community, accessible to all students, established by the express authority of the bishop. All right, Mrs. Egan.
I would like to, this is our Google form that is a survey for your responses tonight. And Mrs. Olson, I would like to ask one of our teacher leaders if they would want to share their screen with the presentation that we shortened for tonight that does have the barcode for
great.
this form on for everyone. So would any of our three teacher leaders, Ms. Valdivia, maybe Mrs. Lepore?
Okay,
Mrs. Olson has the entire form up, but we do have the ability for everyone participating tonight to have their own form. And as we go through our presentation, we can actually have them fill it out. We can also take comments in the chat. Am I correct, ladies?
all right, so I just
Okay,
made it so
Mrs. Olson
multiple
out.
people can share. Okay,
Anybody willing to share their screen?
I don't, do you have, do you have it, Mrs. Valdivia, or do you
I'm
have it?
looking for it right now. I don't mind sharing it. I'm just looking for it right now.
Oh, that's all right.
So, Mrs. Valdivia, did I read the email correctly that you did attach the barcode to? No, I didn't read it correctly. This is what happens when Mrs. Egan is working part-time and not on campus on the night that we're doing a presentation. Okay.
I can add it quickly once I find it.
Okay. It's called NSBEC's Domain 1 and 3. And
I found it.
because we're focusing on Catholic identity. While you're looking for it, maybe I could give a little bit of background. What we're looking for parents in our PTG is for you to give us your ranking, your opinion, your feedback about what you see us delivering right now according to these NSBEC standards. Based on the evidence that you have available. If you see that we are currently meeting that standard benchmark, if you think that we are almost meeting that standards benchmark, or if you think that we're not there at all, and then we want some feedback. And the survey that we have for you, that Google form that Mrs. Olson had up, gives you those standards with the benchmark, and we'll talk about those slides, and you can either fill it out as we go, fill it out afterwards, put some questions or comments in the chat of this recorded Zoom, and all of that for us as the leadership team is evidence that we'll be using to give ourselves our ranking, and then we can finalize our report that we will submit to our visiting team and our commissioner in December. So while we're waiting to
We
get
have
these,
it. We have it ready now.
Okay, all right. So let's get it up.
Ms. Lepore, if you want to share, you can notice I'm
Sure.
putting QR codes on each of them right now.
Okay. Let me.
Yes, I see that everything is there now. I got double devices in front of me here.
Okay. Here we go. You guys see it now?
Yes,
Okay.
got it. So do we want to tag team on presentation? Mrs. Lepore, do you want to start? Do you want me to start? Mrs.
Why don't you
Olson?
go ahead and start?
Okay. All right. These are the national standards for all Catholic schools, and the uniqueness and the excitement about St. Rita's this year is that we are one of a couple of schools in the Diocese of San Diego that is in this first year piloting these NSBECs. So with that, we are kind of the teachers of the teachers, because nobody has gone through this in the Diocese of San Diego yet. So we are up first this year in 2024 with our visit. So the first standard that we're looking at is describing how most Catholic schools are mission driven. Our program is effective, well managed, and responsibly governed. And this is how we operate. So in order for us to know if we meet mission-driven, program effective, well-managed, responsibly governed criteria, there are certain Sammy needs permissions. Did anybody see that? For this? Is it for the form?
Until I put food in my mouth.
Any
yes,
of
you need
our,
permission for anyone.
I'm sharing screen. I can't
yeah,
I'm looking at it right now.
fix that.
okay, thank you. All right, just so we know who's doing what. So as we go to the next slide, we're really looking for some evidence, which is our PTG parents' feedback tonight, because we've looked at evidence from our students, we've looked at evidence from our progress of our action plan from our previous visit, and now we're coming to our parent stakeholders. And we're looking for your feedback and a little bit of evidence on how you see us in terms of our mission and Catholic identity, and in terms of our academic excellence program. So next slide, Mrs. Lepore. And I think Gina had that slide
I
up
have
there.
a question.
Okay,
If I'm
please.
on my phone, I can't scan it. Is there like a email that I could follow, or it can't be sent through email? The form.
Are we going to send this presentation by email after with the QR codes?
Yes, I can do that.
Or a link, maybe?
Or yeah.
I'm gonna try
All
to do
you
it
have
right.
to do is put the link in the chat. That would be easy.
Yes, that would be.
Yeah, the link in the chat would be the easiest.
Mhm.
Next slide,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Lepore. So Mrs. Olson shared this slide already. We're looking at the two on the left tonight, mission and Catholic identity. There are 4 standards and 21 benchmarks, and we are not going to do all of those. We did make this presentation much streamlined, and the survey that you're filling out is streamlined. We're looking at the 4 standards for mission and Catholic identity, and we're looking at the 3 standards for academic excellence. And so what we've done is we've simplified the benchmarks. Next slide. If there are any questions or comment, put them in the chat or speak up. Just unmute yourself so we can make this discussion. So with the 4 different domains, again, we've narrowed it down. And the first is the group of 4 standards from mission and Catholic identity. Slide 5. So this is about the domain. Our Catholic identity is what is going to make our elementary and secondary schools in the diocese schools for the human person, the whole person, whole child development. And that allows your children, our students, to fill a critical role in the future of the life of our church, our country, and our world. And this comes directly from the governing body, which is the Conference for Catholic Bishops. And this is how the domains are put in place. So all Catholic schools in the United States of America are striving for this level of excellence. And the link is in there. Thank you, Mrs. Valdivia. Slide 6. So these are the 4 standards. An excellent Catholic school, the first one is guided by a clearly communicated mission that embraces a Catholic identity rooted in gospel values, centered on the Eucharist, and committed to faith formation, academic excellence, and service. And so what we've done is we've broken that down a little bit. We sent a survey out last spring to parents. Does anybody remember filling that out and sending the survey back to us, where we asked some of these questions?
Yes,
Yes,
I
no?
remember.
Okay. The next slide for this. So our mission statement, is it clearly communicated? Is it part of what we do on a regular basis? Do parents and students know it? Is it referenced in meetings? Is it referenced in communication from the school? Do we see it in classrooms, but do we see it on letterhead? Do we see it in communication that comes from the school office, from teachers? So that is the first question I believe that we have on the Google form, is to ask you if you are aware of our mission statement, our graduate profile indicators. Those of you who are with Mrs. Olson on campus are going to see posters in her office and all over the campus. But do we communicate our mission statement clearly and often in all forms of communication? Because this is really the formation of the foundation of the education at our school. Questions, comments, dialogue? Are people in the form? Anybody else want to chime in on this? Trying to make it a little bit interactive here. Okay.
So we're still looking
The
at the
strong
form.
religion instruction, in the form that you have, when you do click on that, you're going to see the benchmark for that, the standard, and the question will ask you based on that standard if you think we meet the criteria. So there are these four critical standards are what we are measuring. Our mission statement communication, strong religious instruction, student faith formation, and adult faith formation. And we ask questions about each of those on the form. There should be some evidence. For the adult faith formation, our parish and our school does open up activities for families to participate in. So it's not just for our faculty and staff, but really it involves the connection with our parish at St. Rita's, and it involves activities and opportunities for participating in formation for students and their family members in various activities. Questions, comments on those? Okay, next slide. We have 3 benchmarks for academic excellence. Do any of our teacher leaders want to take the 3 benchmarks for academic excellence, or do you want me to continue?
Feel free to continue.
Yeah, you're okay for me to continue. All righty, next slide, please. Okay, as we are in the 21st century, and again, this is a brand new protocol for us. This is the first time that we are holding ourselves in evaluation to meeting these standards. The young people of this third millennium, the 21st century, must be a source of energy and leadership in our church. And our job is to not just evangelize, but to educate, encourage, motivate. That they be a source of energy and leadership in our church, in our nation. And therefore, we provide young people with academically rigorous, this is the key standard, academically rigorous and doctrinally sound program of education. So our curriculum and our instruction should be rigorous and sound, and following the standards that are laid out here in the NSBECs. Next slide, please. These are the 3 standards. And standard 7, an excellent Catholic school is guided by a clearly communicated mission that embraces a Catholic identity rooted in gospel values, centered on the Eucharist, and committed to faith formation, academic excellence, and service. It's a mouthful, and our job is to integrate who we are as a Catholic school with our mission and Catholic identity into our academic programming. And so we're asking the question on the form as it explains that. Do you see evidence of that happening currently? Standard 8, Are there any questions on 7 first or comments on 7? Okay, 8. An excellent Catholic school uses school-wide assessment methods and practices to document student learning and program effectiveness, to make student performance transparent, and to inform continuous review of curriculum and the improvement of instructional practices. So we did STAR testing a few weeks ago. Those reports go home, or progress reports go home. We're preparing for student-led conferences after the first trimester. The school has an organized and systematic use and communication process of our assessment methods. So we're curious as to what you, the parents, can tell us about how effective we are on using school-wide assessment methods and practices to document student learning progress and program effectiveness as we are educating your young people. Anybody have questions or comments on that one? Not standard 9. An excellent Catholic school provides programs and services aligned with the mission to enrich the academic program and support the development of student and family life. And in this standard, we're looking at the connection of different types of programs and services, of which I can speak to the learning support team. So we offer extracurricular activities like athletics, before and after school programs? Do we have programs and services that students can participate in that grow their interests and their needs? Are we meeting learning support needs for the various types of learning challenges that different individuals have? Do we have wellness and safety programs in place? These are some of the things that Standard 9 deals with. Anybody else on the team want to comment on any of the details of 7, 8, or 9?
I would like to kind of talk about number 8.
Okay.
I don't know how I feel about those, like the STAR testing, to be honest. Just because I feel like they're very broad, but then I also don't know what exactly the kid, how they test. Because I know, like, for Sebastian, like, he's still small, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's not one-on-one, but then I could be wrong because I really don't know how the STAR testing goes in the classroom, if I'm explaining myself.
Yeah.
Do you have the zoom out on your thing?
Hello, teacher team? On
So
on that-
how STAR tests are given is basically students work on their computers, and they have I can just speak for the middle school, but I think it's the same for the lower grades as well. And so they have it's adaptive, so they get questions based on computer.
Oh no, just go to that link on the email.
So yeah, does that help
Yeah.
answer your question, Stephanie?
Yes. So they have their own computer and they
I know
help
how
them
to
log in second grade. We helped in the lower grades. We would help them log in, make sure that they're logged in. Then they have their headphones and they have their computer and they take the STAR test. And it is adaptive, so it will ask them things that they haven't learned yet, just to see if they already know it. And then they will know if maybe they can score higher than like in my level, like a second grade level. And then also will adjust as they are taking the test to get an accurate read of where they are at that moment during the school year.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I just feel like I didn't know how it was kind of, I didn't know if it was just standard all across or it was kind of semi to their class.
The great thing about it also is that it attaches right to their freckles. So if they're doing any of their freckle adaptive practice at home, it's solely based off the STAR test. So that's really how we can individualize instruction. So for students that have holes in their learning, there you go. It's there. It's right away when they go into freckle adaptive math reading, it's right there. Or if they're ready for the more advanced level, it's our chance for them to practice truly at their own pace. So they're getting their grade level curriculum within the classroom, but also we're able to differentiate within there.
Oh, good. I didn't know that. Okay, good to know. That's really good to know. Thank you.
That is good to know. Thank you, Ms. Valdivia.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, parents, what I'm picking up is, could we at St. Rita's do a clearer job of informing you as to what adaptive testing, adaptive assessment means, and then what is connected, like freckle is directly connected to our STAR tests, and teachers are able to adapt that learning and instruction result to what students are doing in the classroom. So that data is very important for every student. As Mrs. Valdivia said, that's how we can individualize the instruction, and we can also individualize the assessment. In our form, if you can actually make note of any questions you have, if you don't understand what something is or how something works in one of the standards, that's the evidence that we'd like to collect from this evening. That will help us to determine how we can get better at our communication and also at the delivery of our curriculum instructional program. Okay, any others? Last slide. The critical components then for the delivery of an excellent academic program is that we have qualified teachers, guaranteed and viable curriculum. Guaranteed meaning that, as Mrs. Valdivia said, we know what the grade level standards are and we deliver the curriculum at that grade level, but being a blended learning school, we are able to vary that using the adaptive software assessment results, so students can be grouped and then put in various groups in order to meet the learning at their needs and take them as far as we can from that information and from their participation in the adaptive rotations. So that leads us to much more effective instruction and also support structures within the school, the activities, the programs, and the ability for us to provide services that meet the needs of all of the students that are enrolled at St. Rita's. So this is an ongoing area that we would like to grow and improve in order to be an excellent Catholic school that continues moving forward with 21st century practices. But we want to meet the needs of all of our students to be able to be an excellent Catholic school. Is that our last slide?
Yes.
Okay, so the summary piece then is that at the end of this, what we're looking for is the completion of this form. And the form asks you to select the criteria piece, and then it gives you an opportunity at the end of the questions in each of the domain to be able to type in your feedback, your summary, your questions, and give us any kinds of information that would be helpful for us to grow as a school and to use that evidence that you're providing us in our report. Do you have any questions about accreditation, this protocol, the two domain areas, Catholic mission and Catholic identity and academic excellence, and or the Google form? Mrs. Olson, anybody from the team, any kind of information that I did not cover that you would like to add?
No, I think it's just a lot for parents. Understand that we've been dealing with it being a lot of information and reviewing the NESBECs and becoming familiar with the standards. It's a lot to take in at one time. It's a lot to absorb, and then here we are saying, okay, now really quickly, type something into your phone and give us some feedback. So we know it's a lot. Really quickly is not actually part of the requirement. So if you need some time to process, if you would like to see the recording of this so that you can go back through and see the information again and take some time to process, that's I'll email it out to you tonight, and then you can take the time if you choose to blaze through when I was talking, because it was a little long and slow, but feel free to look at the information again, and then you have the form in front of you, and see if there's something that you would like to add, if there's feedback you'd like to give, or if you're fine with the way it is and you know, don't have any comments, you can just let us know, you know, this doesn't apply to me, or I think it's acceptable the way it is. There are some, you know, rankings in there, and we appreciate your help with this, and your presence here gives us an idea of you know, the amount of interest and the amount of opportunity we have to draw people in and to make them a part of this process. So we appreciate you.
Mrs. Olson, before we close out, the last question on the form asks, and maybe we can get a discussion with this, maybe not, we'll just get the feedback, but that's the envisioning the future of St. Rita's School with us. So you had that form up originally. Can you share a screen and put the form up and get to that last question? Because it does then let the parents know that part of what we are asking for is feedback also on how do we see St. Rita's. Let's look at it 1 year, 3 years out. What is our vision for St. Rita's in the future to help us grow in our mission and Catholic identity and to grow our academic excellence? So that vision statement is something that that you, the principal, are going to finalize with everybody's feedback and your vision for the future. So how do we see St. Rita's in the next 1 to 3 years? And at the end of that phase, what's the next phase? Because Mrs. Olson is working really, really hard with Art, Play, Pray, and with everything that we're doing, growing the PTG board. She's got a fabulous faculty and staff team. And so where do we see the school in the future? What are the hopes and dreams? And this becomes then part of our strategic planning process for sustaining future growth, so that St. Rita's is around for a long time, serving as many children as possible with a great Catholic education in the neighborhood. So that last question there tells us that we're gathering the evidence from you, our valued parents, because we are writing the last pieces of our report, and our report's going to put our action plan steps in place that will lead to our strategies for growth and sustainability for the future, and coming up with a vision statement that encompasses our stakeholders' views, our principals' vision of leadership. Our draft vision statement is at the bottom. So looking for any kind of feedback on how you see the vision, because then we can edit this away, we can scrap it, but it's very important that we empower the voices of the people here tonight. Mrs. Olson, any of the team want to chime in on any of that?
What I'd like to do is ask people if they can see clearly what the draft vision statement says. Checking your vision.
It's at the very bottom.
It's at the very bottom here. It's the bolded piece. I'm not sure how clear or easy it is to see if you're on a cell phone.
It's clear.
It's clear? Okay.
Yes.
So as Mrs. Egan was saying, this is kind of like my view looking forward. This is what, as a community, I want for St. Rita School. And, you know, your input is valued. This is very broad. And so if you have any comments, or you're welcome to speak them or put them in the chat, or put them in the Google form. Any questions about anything there?
Does that vision statement ring true in any or all of those 4 categories? Those are the 4 domains. Do we see truth in it? All right, I'm seeing, I think so, yes. Are we on the right track?
According to everything that was discussed, I say we are on the right track, and I think the vision statement summarizes it.
Okay. I don't know if we could do much better than that for feedback.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you
you.
so much for your time. As I said, I will take the recording and send it out to all of you, and give you some time to digest everything that we've just thrown at you. And feel free to
also share the PowerPoint with us. If it's on PowerPoint, or
it'll
let me
be
see.
included
I can't.
in the recording.
This,
Everything you saw
okay.
will be included in the recording.
Did Mrs. Valdivia put the link to the slide presentation in the chat at the beginning?
She put the link for the form so that they can fill out the form.
Okay, the link for the form.
Yeah,
All right.
that was the link they needed.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Can we though share the presentation individually?
I'm sorry, I
Mrs.
couldn't
Olson?
understand you. Could you repeat your question?
The question that I heard was, can you share the slide presentation with the invited guests to this individually, so they can review the slide presentation? Or will they see it in the recording?
If you need, it's in the recording, what we viewed, it's all one piece, so you'll be able to see everything that was presented tonight
There you go.
in the recording, okay?
Perfect.
All right. Any other questions or comments before we set you free for the night?
No, I think we're good.
I appreciate all of
Thank you.
your I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your efforts with this. I know it's, like I said, it's a heavy topic, and it's a lot to digest at one time. So I'll send the resources to you, and look forward to seeing your feedback. Thank you so much, and I appreciate all that you do. All right, have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, leadership team. Thanks, parents.